In today's world, in the service industry, Carlos, what are you seeing from a recruiting standpoint? What type of platforms should landscapers be using to recruit in? We heard word of mouth on the call so far, but what other lanes and what other top of funnel opportunities do we have for recruiting?
Generally, the way that I think about answering this question is from sort of an approach and thinking about what are like the buckets of effort somebody should be putting in to their sourcing. And if you can imagine, I kind of think about it in like kind of like a few boxes. There's there's a pools of active applicants, so those are people looking for jobs. And so examples of like how you would get in front of those folks is stuff like job boards. So like, it's probably the thing that a lot of folks here are familiar with and have done beyond word of mouth is stuff like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, that kind of stuff. Like that's how you get in front of folks who are looking for jobs. And then, the flip side of that is passive applicants. So those are folks who are not necessarily looking for jobs, but you could get in front of them, and if presented with the right opportunity, they could be a good opportunity for your job or a good fit for your job. So those are two buckets that I think about. And then two other buckets I think about are that is another way that's sort of like unique to y'all's industry is thinking about online applicants and then also thinking about offline applicants. Because unlike a lot of like desk-based jobs, again, thinking about the fact that, your operations and your labor pool is local, you also have an opportunity to, put into place some sort of like, boots on the ground, a little bit more local ways of recruiting versus just going and posting every job on Indeed. So on the thinking about like active job sourcing or applicant sourcing, there's just like no getting around the fact that the job boards are really effective and efficient marketplaces to find people. And in particular, Indeed is just the biggest one of those. I'm not sure what the stat is, but it's something when I looked at it previously, there's something like 80% of job applications in this country are, exchanged on Indeed. So it's just the like 3,000 pound gorilla in the space. And again, although this can change from location to location, that it tends to be like the thing that reliably is something you should be spending time on is making sure that jobs are posted on Indeed, making sure that your job postings on Indeed are optimized because Indeed also is very particular about the jobs that are posted, the way that they're posted, and really trying to optimize for the applicant experience, which is something that makes it tricky from the perspective of an employer. But all to say that Indeed is like, a really important place to have your jobs posted.
When you're talking about Indeed optimization, is it similar to like search engine optimization on Google of like your ranked of how you come up in the algorithm within Indeed?
It's similar in the sense that the algorithm favors certain stuff, and so you get an advantage by virtue of knowing what that stuff is. So like in the case of like search engine optimization, like Google really, for example, prioritizes authority and helpfulness, and it like measures how long somebody stays on your page and how many people link to you. So it looks for like these like signals of validation of what you're putting on your website as being helpful. In the case of Indeed, they've basically focused on like certain things that they think support a really good candidate and applicant experience. One of the big ones there is completeness of a job. So Indeed really wants people to post jobs that have as much information about that job as possible. So things like including compensation information, including information about benefits, including, just like a pretty exhaustive job description, and then also avoiding anything that could be like misleading. So like, for example, one of the things that we have seen them always care about, but start to like really enforce more recently is stuff like uh, people putting information in the title that doesn't actually describe the job. So, for example, putting in a job description that says irrigation technician, huge signing bonus, inquire immediately type of thing. Putting that in the title is that's not the job title, and so Indeed now like cares about that kind of stuff. So they like really are filtering and even filtering out jobs that don't provide like a good experience, consistency of the job descriptions and that kind of stuff. So it's similar in the sense that they also have sort of, key things, variables that they're looking for, but it's just the things that they're looking for are a little bit different.